Hello, my name is Zhatelier. Welcome back for another episode of Valhalla Vanguard in Aurora 4X. And we've skipped ahead about 3 years now. I've been mostly doing some research. I think this shows at least a fair bit of the research that I've done in the downtime or during the skip. So some shields. I got the research rate up. I got some fighter gear like the meson cannon and the power generator and the fighter beam fire control. I got the max engine power modifier 2. I got the increased missile warhead, which is now 5, so we can save up a little bit of room on our missiles. Then we got the shipbuilding rate 560, hangar deck. We got some new missile engines, reduced launcher size 0.5. 5 times the reload, and that's something that we're going to have to start utilizing a bit more. It's because after doing some research and all that, or reading, it turns out that my ships, or the missile ship especially, is not very efficient. Because, I mean, sure, it can fire a lot of missiles repeatedly, but the thing is, the enemy anti-missile defenses or point defense will be able to shoot out the missiles most likely rather easily, so it's more important to have a big salvo instead of quick reload. For like anti-ship stuff, for anti-missile stuff, it is very important to have a quick reload still, at least against the precursors and such, because I know that they will fire about every 20 to 30 seconds usually. It's a bit random, and we have increased the fuel production, and we got the gravitational sensors. And speaking of that, oh crap, I didn't mean to close that. You go back there. So speaking of the sensors, we did do the longbow 3, and we did actually build one of those, and then we retooled Zhatelier into one. But then I realized that it had 3 points of survey for geological stuff, but 0 points for gravitational. So I actually left a wrong sensor in there, so I had to do B variant, and now it has improved sensors on both of those. We're currently retooling our sensor, or the survey shipyard, and it's going to be done soon, and then we're going to retool Zhatelier again. It shouldn't take very long because it's fairly small amount of things that need to be switched, I hope. So it should be done fairly quickly. Then we're going to add another slipway there. Now, of course, as I might have mentioned, the fuel problems are still here, but now we are producing about 20 to 25 million liters per year, and we will try to increase that as much as we can. But most of our ships are currently just sitting at Valhalla. There's a few freighters going around taking mines into, for example, Valaskjalf and such, and Tark is taking fishermen into places and so forth. Actually, that reminds me, can we have a look at the Sjoffen? Just wondering if there's anything good in terms of asteroids or something. No, there doesn't seem to be any asteroids there, so that's going to be a problem. We can actually quickly check that. Now, there's a lot of planets and moons, but no asteroids that we know of. And there's one planet over there pretty far away, but we don't need to worry about that right now. So yeah, I've been doing a fair bit of research. I have gotten more ships. First of all, the missile destroyers has also been built. But we're building another one, but I think after that we'll wait until we get the better engines and better launchers and such to make the next year missile destroyers, because I've realized that the destroyers are not that great right now. Let's just say that the first version was a prototype on how to not do things, at least to some degree. And if we have a look at the ships other than the longboat, I have made a support vessel which will be carrying a lot of missiles and repair points. It's going to be going 24,000 kilometers per second. No, 2400, not 1000. There we go. And hold on, then there was something else that I did, but yes, we have a Rommel class carrier, which is 10,000. I was thinking about putting the jump drive on this, but that would have made it a lot bigger, and I would have had to make a new jump drive. We haven't built any of these yet. It has the same speed as the Spikes and Athenians, so it should be able to keep up with them, and it has about roughly the same range. It does have a lot bigger deployment time, just to make sure that our fighters in there will not start breaking up, although 12 months is probably a bit too much. Let's check it. We go for 8. We could then fit in a bit more in here. Maybe a bit more engineer. I mean, the maintenance life is still pretty high, so we could technically add in a bit more fuel for the fighters and such. Now it will have, it will be able to carry 5 fighters, each carrier, and the unsung class fighters. I've added an extra layer of armor, although that is probably not a good idea. One thing that I could do is I could set up about 50% of the fighter to be engined. Currently it's only 40%, but if I lower that and switch the fuel storages to tiny, I'm not sure if I'm actually researching that right now or not. We can check that, but I have queued it up at least, so we will get that sooner or later. And basically the idea is that if I make one big engine, that should have a smaller crew. Oh right, that actually reminds me, the Rommel doesn't have the extra crew. That was the thing that I had to fix, so let's take off that one. We can actually probably go for 6 months for the extra space you have. Keep excess quarters, so if it's we need about 60 crew space, so I think 56 is fine. We could actually add in, well, if we add one extra and then we could add in a bit more of the fuel storages and such. Add in large fuel storage. Get rid of that one. We can add in, I suppose, 2 small ones still. Now that is actually a bit extra flight crew berth, but that's... I wonder... Take those ones away. We could fit in a tiny bit more. And the fighters, if we switch out to the smaller fuel tanks, they're not going to be having that much fuel, so a little bit extra doesn't hurt. But we will have an oiler usually with any attack fleets, like hanging a bit back with the extra missiles and repair points and such. So technically the repair or maintenance storage bay is probably unnecessary on this one. So yeah, we'll actually take that one away. Could we actually fit in, if we take this boat base away, I wonder if we could fit in another hangar deck. We'd have to take away some of the fuel, but it is technically doable. Then we can get rid of the small fuel tanks and add in... Now to be fair, now I'm not sure if we have enough of flight crew berths. Well, let's see, if we add in a bit more fuel, we'll probably add in another crew quarter. Maybe not a full crew quarter, but like a couple small ones. Now the maintenance life is basically 2 years now. So it's decent. The range is 19 billion kilometers, which isn't huge, but it should be enough for doing a strike into enemy territory and then heading back. And now it would have 6 fighters. which I think is okay. I mean, the fighters are expendable. If we have like 2, maybe 3 carriers per strike force, so there's gonna be 12 to 18 fighters. I'm pretty sure that some of them will be able to get past the enemy defenses, and with the messengers they should be able to start destroying the components inside. And especially if we get the bigger engine. Like, if you have a look at the engines that we currently have, take 3 crew each. So that's 6. If we were to design another engine with as high efficiency as possible, it would actually be a bit higher, and hull size 5. Oh. What about the 1.5? Okay, that might be a problem. I don't think we have any spare bears. No, we don't. So if we... hold on. I mean, we are adding in an extra point in there. But it doesn't actually add that much. Although, well, it would need some, but we can probably salvage a little bit from other places. But we could make it rather fast. 120 engine power for a plane that small, so we would have about, well, 12,000 kilometers per second speed. And that starts to be... I mean, sure enough, the enemy point defense can probably shoot them down, or they can fire missiles and take them out. But at the same time, it is very small, and... well, actually, that is going to increase the thermal signature. If we were to lower that... although the thermal signature is not really the problem, it's the active sensors that will spot them. I don't know, but that's something that we could consider, or once we get the next engine tech. Which we are, well, we're not quite researching that one yet. We are getting the fusion reactor, or stellarator fusion reactor technology, which is going to take more than a year right now. Although, now that we got the shipyard, or the fuel production, we can actually remove some research labs from this one, and add them back to the power and propulsion, so we can get that done this year instead. Maybe we'll take one more lab out of that and add it over here to the missile stuff. We are currently researching the 1/3 of a size missile launcher, because that might be enough to get at least somewhat good salvo going on from the missile destroyers. Now, of course, another thing that we could do is maybe design a bit better magazines for the missile destroyers, because we do have some better tech now. I don't remember the exact numbers. Let's actually close these real quick. Open this. So if we have a look at the magazine, size 12, it's fairly costly. Explosion is 30%. It's a bit high. If we put that to the side real quick, and we'll start designing the new magazine. Now pull the old one back here. So it was size 12. Hit to kill is 2. So, and hold on. This one would cost roughly the same, actually. A bit higher capacity, though. Although it's only 12. So it's not that much higher, but it would certainly be less likely to explode. Or if you were to increase this... okay, we can't quite get it at the same level as it was, but we could certainly make this into something useful. Maybe if we go for... Oh, no, I'm not going to add that much. I mean, if the enemy missile or enemy starts hitting our missile destroyers, then our point defense most likely has failed utterly. Therefore, adding too much critical is probably a waste of space. Actually, let me see. If we were to... we could drop the capacity a little bit. And drop the hate to kill. Although no, I do want to have it one extra point there at least. So no, we could... A bit higher capacity magazines, we could get them. It would still be the same cost, so that's good. Less likely to explode, but the development cost is a decent one. And we... well... I don't know, I suppose I could create this. If we get better tech before we actually get around to start researching it, then we can do that, but... as a placeholder now. But anyway, we've spent already quite a bit of the episode here and not having gone even one step forward, so let's let at least the shipyard retooling be completed. Oh, sleep we're added to the whalers. And sheer survey completed on Front A3 Moon 6. Let's see. But we didn't actually find anything new there. Moon 6. Okay. We have a decent bit of carbonate boronite, thorium, uridium, so this might not be a terrible place to mine a little bit. If I remember correctly, yeah, you'd need underground infrastructure to actually mine in here. Right, but let's disband the team there. Were there any other places that we should probably... That's actually, I was looking for more places with Mercasim, and Gunnar B2, Moon 9, has 0.4 accessibility and almost 50 million Mercasim. I think I'm gonna do a bit of a survey here, just in case. Hopefully we can make that into a decent colony. So there we go, that's 5 members. And I have been increasing the industrial capabilities of Njord ever so slightly. I mean, it currently has 21 construction factories. We are still shipping more, of course. And it has 26 ground-based mines. So, all in all, the production of minerals in Alta is about 5,000... Actually, it's a bit more than that now. 1,500 there. 4,000 there. Well, actually, that's about it. So, 5,500, roughly speaking, is the total production. Which, honestly, is not that great. Then we got the asteroid over here that is producing 1,500. It's mostly duranium, some corundium over there as well. And all of that is being ferried into the Moon 9 here, which has a decent stockpile already. We should probably ferry this one in back to Valhalla. Some thorium. Then we are also mining over here at the Moon 12 of A1, but that's not a very high amount. I mean, there's only 5 mines in there, so it's not that terrible, but just not very efficient necessarily. It doesn't have a governor, actually. Let's have a look. Are there any other places that require a governor? Oh, Valhalla doesn't have a governor. Oh, are you any good? You do have shipbuilding bonus, but actually production wealth, population growth, mining bonus, population, factory production, ground units construction. Actually, that sounds good. There's one of these. Moon 1, wait a minute. This doesn't necessarily need a very good mining bonus. Let's place one of those there. Oh, wait a minute, it didn't actually assign it there. Oh no, it did. Population growth bonus. Factory production. I'm gonna send you over there anyway. And you are going to go there. So at least we'll get a bit more mining going on. But that's about it from there, I think. Now, oh right, we got the slipway for whalers, so we can start building yet another one. The whalers is basically the only thing that we need to construct all the time. Or was this? Right, so we'll start that. It's going to take a while. But we got a lot of fishermen and whalers. Do we actually... I forget, if we go back to Humir... So shipyard harvesters. I know that there's something in there. There's a fisherman in there. Oh right, it doesn't have a huge amount of fuel because we've had a lot of problems lately. But it's down there. One thing that we could do is either send more to the Valhalla mine over there, or honestly, I think maybe another one in one of the other mines here in asteroids here in Alta might not be a terrible idea either. Or more just for this one. Because this one does produce a fair bit of minerals with good accessibility, but the problem is it's producing so much that the mass driver won't be able to handle it if we send more. And we don't have a spare mass driver available right now. We are going to be producing more once we get some of these things done. Now we'll be producing 2,000 infrastructure, which will be used to get the Sjoffen B2, the archaeological dig site, which does indeed have the construction battalion. Once we just realize what the installations are, the team is over there. It doesn't have very high skills, so that's one of the reasons why it's taking forever and a half. But once we get to know that, then the construction battalion can start working on the ruined or abandoned installations. And then we'll bring in the 2,000 infrastructure to get this place up to 10 million, roughly speaking. Also, one thing that I didn't mention is the aliens. So if you have a look at the Joseph Source, obviously still hates us quite a bit, but the Jaguar's Unity is friendly. They have granted trade access as we have done the same for them. Then no research sharing yet, but they are giving us geosurvey data, and we are giving them the same actually. So things are pretty good with them. I mean, we'll eventually get... Oh, right, and friendly means that they can... We can use their jump tenders and such, I believe, from either side of the jump point. But we'll try to make them our ally, and we can maybe use their information that they might provide to us to take out the other one. But that's about it. But let's get the shipyard modification done and start retooling Axelian. Shipyard modified. Excellent. Right, so survey. First of all, we'll add in the extra slipway here. It's going to take a while, but we need to get that started. Then refit Longbow B from Longbow 3. Axelian is the only option. Okay, it's going to take up until May by the looks of it, but there's not much I can do about that. It takes a fair bit of iridium, which we do still have a decent amount, so that's not such a huge issue. We're having a bit of a problem with our wealth, since practically we are not using civilian shipping to anything. Right, but now that we got that, we should be able to let the movement run for a while. I mean, one thing that we could do, we got some freighters here waiting, basically saving up the supplies and such. Overhaul completed for Exilian, yes, I am aware. But we are actually out of time, so unfortunately we didn't get very far in this episode. There was a lot of catching up to do. But if you enjoyed this, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Also check out the links down below in the description. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye bye.